Welcome back, everyone. I have Július here with me on the stage. He will begin his presentation about the Dynatrace tool.
Yeah, thanks. Actually, my session won't be that informal as the previous one. Will be slightly more technical. It is mostly about what is observability, what is, let's say, intelligent observability in the digital world. I mean, the world is really changing fast, and we have to cope with that. So my name is Július Loman. I'm from the company Tempest, and we are the Dynatrace master partner for Slovakia and Czech Republic. I'm a Dynatrace expert, certified professional for several years, and I'm in the, let's say, IT business and observability business for 18 plus years. So it's pretty long time doing monitoring tools, performance analysis, and this kind of scope in IT. Okay, so now the world is, let's say, complex. Like there are several challenges in current applications. Like everything is going more dynamic. The velocity of change and the volume of data is still increasing. This current COVID situation only made this worse because everybody is relying on their applications, and also the frequency is really accelerating. So there are requests for changes to be implemented faster than ever before. So if you remember the world like 10 years ago when applications were simple and monoliths, and it was like maybe quarterly waterfalls for the applications, that this is not true anymore for most of the customers, also for big enterprises. And of course, resources are still limited. Yeah, whenever you are on premise, in cloud and everything, your resources will be limited. It's just about the money, but anyway. And that's why we need some kind of software to manage that complexity overall, and to provide you some answers. So there were, of course, many tools before that enabled you to provide to get some visibility into your applications, into your test runs, into your, let's say, infrastructure. But now you need answers. There's so much data that you actually cannot evaluate the data by yourself, and you need some kind of assistance, and also you need automation. Yeah. Now, when you don't automate, you will die, because the complexity will kill you. And that's why we need some kind of intelligent observability. And this is where Dynatrace will help you. This is a good slide about what kind of features you may need in your world. Dynatrace is a platform that will allow you to get visibility into your applications whenever it's the application itself, or it's just the infrastructure the application is running on. You get visibility into the security of the applications, whether there are some vulnerabilities in your code. You gain visibility into your user experience, and all these features. I will talk about the most important features a little bit later. And one from my point of view, one of the best things about Dynatrace is that it's a single platform. I'm pretty sure you are using multiple tools already for just to get visibility, what it's running, how your, for example, how your tests were executed when you were doing some, for example, performance testing. But typically you have to use multiple tools to get your answers, and you have to just, let's say, correlate that in your head, and okay, what is this this output means, because you need to go for some other answers or some other data into another tool. Dynatrace is a single platform, so you get everybody is looking at the same data, and the data is interconnected. That's the most important thing. So you have some kind of a single language across your team whenever is this team of developers, testers, operations, business users. So everyone is looking at the same data. They don't need to go for answers into some other tool, and they see their data from a different way. Okay, let's move. Probably it's some kind of laggy. My PowerPoint here. Yeah, of course, you have a very broad technology support here. So whenever your application is running on cloud, on-prem, whether it's Java, .NET, and this kind of stuff, everything is like supported. You get the very deep visibility into your apps. What is observability in general? Because I sometimes I get these questions from prospects and customers. How does observability differ from traditional monitoring? Yeah, I give them an example that if you have a glass cube and something is inside, you have like multiple sides to look at the glass cube, and you see some different things from each side. So to get observability is like the ability to look what's inside the cube from each side, and then you can easily determine what is inside. With monitoring, you get just one view, like typically a metrics, because it's something that you just measure. So observability is a combination of all the sources, as you can see here. It's a combination of traces, metric, logs, code level data, metadata, for example, information about what build number is this application just now running. For example, if my request was executed on this container and this kind of stuff. And very important is the topology, because there is so much data that you need the topology itself. Yeah, and there is also the option to ingest some other data, like OpenTelemetry is a big word now, because everybody is moving towards to a standard of collecting the data, and then it's just a question about what the tool can do with the data itself. So how does it work together? There are some very important features in that. So let's talk about these 5 key points. The first important one is the one agent. Yeah, typically every monitoring system, every observability system does have an agent or list of agents that you need to install on the system. Very key differentiator here that Dynatrace does have something called one agent. Imagine that as a single binary or single installation file that you put on your host or into your platform, and you don't need to configure anything. Yeah, that's right. This is a zero configuration, so you just install it. It will then auto-discover all your applications, inject the monitoring code into your applications, and will start monitoring. So we'll start collecting all the metrics, all the metadata, all the relationships, and etc. So let's start with this one agent, and then is my slide progressing? Because this, yeah, hopefully, yeah. Then the second part is something called pure path. Pure path. What is a pure path? Pure path is a combination of different data sources. If you are a developer, you probably heard of tracing across application in a distributed environment. So you have a visibility about what is my service doing, which other services is is my service calling in a single execution of a single request. But PurePath is very, let's say it's more than that. You need to also have some kind of code view data about, okay, where are my hotspots, for example, for CPU? How are my memory allocations? How are my metrics? What is the behavior? Show me my logs. Show me logs just relevant to these requests, and etc. So this is something called in Dynatrace. It's called PurePath. And it's the most important source of data on in your applications on the server side. And as I said, the key important thing is to have that data in context. So we have something called Smartscape that will allow you to have a view how my systems are interconnected, and this data comes from the PurePath data, from the relations. So, and it's very important to have that data in the context. And now, if we have the data, we have the relations between the data. We need to evaluate the data constantly. So you need to have answers. And with Dynatrace, you are able to automate that, and Dynatrace will automatically process all the incoming data. Will do the problem detection if something goes wrong in your application. Whenever it's a production load or it's a test run, then Dynatrace is able to detect problems. It's based on some kind of let's call it AI, but it's more or less deterministic machine learning about the metrics on your services, and it's able to detect any anomalies and alert you on that. Also on the infrastructure, but this is more like monitoring tool. And it can also prioritize, provide you answers like, okay, this problem affects some users and etc. But it's about causation, about real causation, not about correlation. So it's not about just looking, okay, I have some anomaly in one metric and in another. It's just looking also at the topology itself. So when there is a root cause detected, if really those systems are interconnected. So then when you have your problems detected, you can automate the remediation, for example, by calling external systems, like some integrations for your load testing tools, and for example, Jira as a trouble ticket tool, or whatever tool are using, so you can integrate that into your existing environment. Like, for example, with some load testing tools, you can provide names of your tests, name of your test steps to easily then identify and evaluate your test runs. I will show that in a demo in a moment. And then you can, of course, sometimes you need to scale your solution. So with Dynatrace, we are able to be a web scale solution. So if you have like 50,000 hosts, it's not a problem. It can handle this kind of stuff. That's basically because Dynatrace was or has been redesigning their platform and build that new platform from scratch to be able to ingest that much data. So they had previously a solution for that, but with it, they like 10 years ago they decided, okay, we need a new solution to be able to ingest that much data that it's coming in the new applications. And this was mostly about the server side, but your applications, they have a purpose. They have a business context. They need to serve for purpose. So that's why you can all with Dynatrace also observe the part what is running on in the applications at your clients. So if it's for example a web application, you can detect how are your users behaving. You can drill down into your business KPIs, if funnels and this kind of stuff. What's really matters for the business. Yeah, you can then evaluate and use this data for example, to write better tests. So you can easily look even with something called session replay, or what are the users really clicking on in a web application or in a mobile application, if there are some errors on their side. So really monitor the applications on at the end user and see what is their experience to deliver better software. When we are just deploying or approaching a customer, then I recommend that there is to establish something called monitoring as a service. So actually, it's the most about what's automating the processes. So deploying the agents and across your environment, and also giving access to people, for example, just in IT or in some business departments, to the data that it's available. Of course, with some scopes, because some kind of data might be sensitive. So I recommend to give access to all the data. Then just to non-sensitive data to everyone in IT, whether it's a developer or it's a tester or it's operations, then you have a single. You can look at the single problem and the single data, everyone, and this really helps to solve issues more quickly. And then something more in the in a testing area. Maybe you have heard about the term quality gates. It's about defining some quality indicators for your applications that you are testing. Whenever it's typically it's a performance testing, so you can define, okay, what are the criteria to pass this application, for example, into the next stage. So by, let's say, executing a performance test, whenever it's a JMeter, neoload, and then you can use Dynatrace to evaluate the data and see inside the application what is running. You can define criteria like on a front end side, or really inside the code. Like, okay, I don't want for example, my microservice to perform more than 10 database calls per request, or not to spend like no more than 50 milliseconds for in a database call. And then you can also automate these things. So whenever then an application build is okay, you can just promote it into the next stage, or you can just revoke it. So something like a scorecard. Yeah, this is just an example about the quality gate. So we have SLIs, like service level indicators, about for example, response time. Oh, maybe I clicked a little bit too fast here, and let's go back. Yeah, let's go back here, and also about the numbers of it's very laggy today. Okay, I will show it here. So a quality gate is like, okay, I have my criteria. For example, it might be some performance criteria. It might be also other things like, okay, I have no security vulnerabilities. As I said, Dynatrace is also able to provide you this kind of information, and then you have the score. Like, okay, if my score needs to be like 90 to pass this build, and it's okay, promote. Dynatrace will just promote this build. I wanna try you to show some demo. Yeah, let's move here. This is a Dynatrace environment. It's a demo environment. There are many, let's say, applications running, and we have a setup here for demonstrating some features of Dynatrace. Yeah, this is just an example about the relation Dynatrace knows. This is just a layer of the services. Like, imagine that as a web. In each point is like a web service, and each line is like, okay, there are calls between those services. It might be a database, might be a queue, might be a web service, this kind of stuff. Yeah, of course, we have some kind of dashboard. Not that one. Maybe I will go here to that open dashboard. So we have a dashboard for our demonstration. This is more the important data, for example, for testing. There are in this demo environment deployments. Like each hour, each deployment has a different, let's say, code base, different issues, and there are some deployments that are okay. And this is for demonstration. Okay, we have this is a most dashboard with most important data. We have like response time per test step, for example. We have like HTTP errors, number of database calls per service, and etc. So this is more like a combination of data from different sources in your applications. And of course, we in the cloud automation. Let's open that cloud automation bridge. I'll show you then how the automation and how the quality gates do look like. So we now have, for example, a delivery. Now it's a test running, automated test executed by JMeter. And let's look at some of the previous runs. Yeah, we have, for example, at today at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we had a execution that the quality gate had a score of 46, and it failed. Of course, it's red. And let's have a look. For example, what was the quality gate? For example, here. Let's look at it. What is the data? How are my builds running? Dynatrace then showed you, okay, this is the run. Yeah, we can see that there are several issues, and my build did not pass the quality gate. So let's move to Dynatrace and look on the dashboard. Okay, what is this? What are my key metrics, for example? Because I was running a pipeline and a quality gate, and it did not pass. Okay, we can see there are some issues with the response time, for example, here. So let's go and open that service. For example, let's dig inside. I mean, what is happening in the application itself. Yeah. Let's really look at. It looks like the Hermit tab is eating all my CPU when I was trying to find out why is my computer so laggy. Yeah, let's look at the front end, because we were running some load tests. So let's look at the front end. Okay, and you can now see, we will now see the data. Yeah, I missed the The recent was, yeah, this was, the test was running today, the front account guy. Let's look at some data within Dynatrace. And we will, yeah, we can see how our service was performing. I mean, obviously the metric, but let's look at the individual test steps, because there are many test steps. Yeah, what's this name? What's the test step name? Let's look. Okay, the calculated recommendations, they were some kind of slow. So let's filter that and just analyze what's in the recommendations. Okay, we can see, oh, this should be better. Let's move here, for example, and let's analyze. Let's do on Dynatrace analyze our code. So we can see immediately that, for example, in my performance test, when we filtered out the just one step in the application about calculating recommendations. Okay, we can see, okay, fun journeys, this is kind of slow. Let's dig inside what's there. Let's dig inside. Yeah, it's a code execution. Yeah, code execution. It's way too slow. It doesn't show us what's inside. Yeah, maybe this is a level where developers will come in like, okay, we have some problems here. Show us the hotspots, because there was code running and this was really slow. Yeah, you can see, for example, here in the code, this is problem. Yeah, hey, developer, look at that code, because you are spending like 96% of your time in this calculate section index code. You need to look at it and fix that, because this is what actually took too long and our build was failing. This is very, 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 very short demo, and maybe some lessons learned. This is let's say a typical, but well, 2 years ago we had a large PLC in the finance customer. Like before, they had like many outages and unavailability of their core platform. This is finance, so typically in finance industry, so like 15th day of the month, they have really a big load, because everybody is checking their accounts, mortgages like are being paid, and this is really a peak day for each bank, at least here in Slovakia. Before they have several monitoring tooling, but no observability. They could not find like any issues in the application. They have only monitoring place, so they could see some metrics, but the core platform was like, okay, unavailable like in 2 minutes after the load was reached. And obviously they had some non-production environment, like really a copy of the production, but they were unable to reproduce that. This is quite typical. And what the customer also learned from PLC and by deploying Dynatrace, that okay, this is very common. Production non-production environments are never equal. You cannot like make a copy of your production environment and just trying to simulate all the things like your users are doing in production. Also, I mean, this was really important in this particular case. Your applications are not isolated; they are running in a context. You will have external services like some cloud services your applications are calling, and these services really may affect you. Yeah, for example, in this case, this was one of the root causes. And also what customer experienced, that they had really different issues in a non-production environment and in production. Like, and we were able to really and quickly solve the issues in both environments. Yeah, one of the important thing is here, but was here. You need to test what your users are actually doing. Like here, the customer had really a bunch of performance tests already. They were quite good, I think, but they were not fitting to what their users were really doing in the application in the peak day. So it was really easy then by looking at the requests in the production. Okay, what is happening and what were my users doing before the peak load? Because like the performance test was okay, just log in, do some payment and log out. But this is not like typical journey. You have some think time. You have some users are not sending any payments and etc. So you can easily fine tune your tests to match the load that it's expected in production. So you can use the data from production for better test scenarios and maybe just to fine tune your testing scenarios. And also it's good to evaluate and compare your individual test runs. Like in the quality gates, we didn't use the quality gates at that time, but we used like comparing the services performance between like individual test runs. Like, okay, the developer made some change, and okay, like we could evaluate after each test run what was the effect on the application itself and compare that. Just a quick wrap up about what should be important from like a key takeaway from this. That is, observability is really required in all phases of your application delivery. So it's not only a tooling for developers or for operations or business. It's a tooling for everybody. And you need a deep visibility because your applications are becoming more and more complex. You need to know how individual parts of your applications are really performing to get an overview and to get the answer what is really happening here. And also finding root causes of some errors. For example, Dynatrace is able to provide you really root causes if there were some, for example, functional errors in your application. Yeah, obviously the quality gates is something that should be considered now because you need to automate. You need to automate where possible. And by using quality gates, you can easily speed up your application delivery process just by defining your key criteria, validating all the necessary KPIs in the quality gate, and then you can evaluate and automate your software delivery like very easily. This is probably all from my side at the moment. You can like sign up for a trial of Dynatrace here, or you can reach us or reach me at Dynatrace at tempest.sk. You can also find me on LinkedIn. So now I'm open for questions, if there are any.
So maybe there will be, but I would like to ask one question. I saw in your presentation that Dynatrace is quite a complex solution, and as I understand, it monitors the production of the system. Is there any impact on the production system speed when you are doing this Dynatrace stuff?
Yeah, Actually, it's not only a thing for production, but typically you run this also in production to get your visibility. You are asking about the overhead of this tooling. From my experience, also from it's about typically 2%. That is really not something that is can be measured or can be seen like significantly. Of course, there are within the product there are some features that are protecting the application from the overhead. So, for example, there is something called sampling in your data, because if, for example, my application is undergoing like a significantly bigger load than it's expected, then of course you don't want to be that overhead too high, then Dynatrace agent will shrink or lower the amount of the collected traces. So you don't need to look at each trace or each detailed data. You need to have a sample to get the answer what is going on in the application, but you don't need detailed data about every request. So it's able to handle that. I think probably we had these agents for example on a service that was handling like 400,000 requests per minute, and we could not measure any overhead. It's about 1 or 2% of CPU.
Okay. So, any other questions? Please do not hesitate to write RC something. Is it possible to interconnect two separate environments running Dynatrace?
Yes, actually, it is now with something called two separate. It is now you have possibilities like W3C trace context. It's a special kind of HTTP headers, but it will allow you to stitch the data, stitch the traces between several Dynatrace environments, or also with other tooling that is able to or it's honoring this W3C HTTP headers. So you are able to interconnect that. What you can't do, because separate Dynatrace environment is typically a separate installation. So you cannot see all the data in one environment. You can see some data from on dashboard from the other environment, but really not it's not ingesting all the traces. You can now send also trace data from the other environment, but it's very detailed. The answer is very detailed, so I will rather not go in the details now. But it's possible on up to some level at the moment.
Thank you, Július, for your presentation. I hope everyone liked that, and thank you everyone for participating on this SANAE Software Testing BEER. Hopefully, in the new year, the situation with COVID will be better, and we will be able to meet on site in some good place to have a beer, have a talk, and have as usual two great presentations. So thank you very much, and bye, and thank you, Július.
Yeah, thank you, bye.